Oh man, do you take hostages often? I wouldn't call it a habit. The young man rummaged around the small spaceship, taking careful stock of every small piece of cargo. That would imply control. The ship's captain tried to not shake. His hands gripped tight across his controls as his eyes uncontrollably glided to the intruder's gun. His mouth was dry. Speak with confidence, my friend. He began checking through the contents of the backpack he was carrying. His face was smooth and youthful, only being marred by a slight, almost unnoticeable cut under the right eye. His hair was bright blonde, cut short and almost burning like a hot fire. Ask me again, but be confident this time. Let your lungs do the work, not your head. The captain was a little stunned. He swallowed, looking the man up and down and counting the amount of moments it'd take until he'd get killed by him. What? No. See, you did it again. He came over and sat down in the passenger seat. Being scared doesn't matter when sounding confident. It's a trick. You have to understand your nature. He put careful emphasis on the last word. What? Yes, your nature. He pointed out of the glassy hole towards the darkness of space. Go ahead and start her up while you try again. I don't want to be late. The captain's fingers hovered above his devices, seeming to think over the strange request alongside of his mind. None of this exactly felt like a threatening pirate engagement, yet by the gun on the young man's hip and his brazen orders, it most certainly was. Seeing no other option, he began to start the small space skoomer, clearing his throat as he did. What? His muscles were still tense, and his lungs unwilling. What are you going to do with me? The pirate scowled. Could be better. Could be a lot better. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a book, crossing his legs and flipping towards the bookmark, as if he was on vacation. With an easy air, he carried on the conversation, while his eyes looked down towards the pages. I'm using you as cover. Having my own ship is too dangerous. We're heading towards the Vati embassy. The captain's eyes went wide. But what? But why? Why are you going there? Because... He flipped a page with the lip of his finger. I'm going to blow it up. Everything locked tight in the captain. His muscles strained like cables. His blood halted. His eyes and ears stopped sending signals. The captain tried to force air out of his lungs, but found nothing inside of him. Nothing that could calm his screaming nerves. Start driving. The pirate's voice was casual. I'll shoot you and drive myself if you don't, and I really want to read, and I think you really want to live. So let's work together. Yeah? The captain's hands moved without him. The ship slowly lurched into motion, engines burning to a steady ember, and batteries pumping out power. His mind couldn't quite think. His thoughts were not even clouded, but totally blocked. He was piloting a man straight into an act of intergalactic terror against aliens. The large, arcing space station slowly came into view. The captain had been working up the carriage all trip to ask his question. Well, why? Again he fumbled his words. Why are you doing this? We're allied to the Vati. He was staring at the station. Lions don't make deals with sheep. What? He blinked hard as he thought. You're trying to interfere with intergalactic politics because you think we're better than them? Ha! He stood up, beginning to gather his things. My friend, I fear you vastly overestimate our position in this universe. He laid a hand on the captain's shoulder. We are the sheep. His voice was steady and confident, a light smile forming as he spoke. "And it is the nature of the lion to get hungry, and we rest in his den." Words, my friend. He threw him a heavy bag. "They rest truly in your chest, yet you encumber them on their way out. You must learn to let your air fly." What's this?" It was one of the bags he kept in the back of the ship, yet it was filled with something clunky and heavy. "That would be a rifle, mixed in with high-powered explosives." He panicked and pushed it onto the ground. "Jeez, well, why would you give me that?" "Because..." He was fixing his gear, going through the multiple weapons and devices in his own bag, and deftly examining their quality once again. "There's a Vati Royal cruiser parked at this station. You're going to drop the explosives off at the sloop it's ported at. Bang should be big enough to put this thing out of commission." Oh, the rifle is in case things get hairy. I don't expect them to, though. After all, what is a lion known for but pride?" The captain's hands looked as if they were falling away from him. The world tunneled into a small window, a tiny hole that he could no longer fit through, no longer see. All that was left of him and the void, his heart and the black, crushing weight of lonely nothing. I can't!" He screamed it, feeling the sweat of panic run down his face. I'm not a murderer. I can't do this. I can't." The Pirus stood straight, like a solemn pillar in the middle of the ship, and he stared at him. Their mutual silence turned the room into a frozen chamber, into a church of suspense. The captain's nerves pinched him at every moment, while the steely eyes of the Pirus stabbed at him. "Look at you." His words were sharp, not quite a whisper, and yet effortlessly subtle. His head was cocked and he kept his eyes fixated on the panicking man. "Inside of you is a masterpiece, a force of nature so profound and so incredible that it turned a monkey into a conqueror. And you snivel and squeal like you were a Voltaby cattle. Let me tell you a secret, though. It shouldn't be that." He knelt down beside him, his voice becoming strong and tough. "It is a secret only because its knowledge was stolen from us, but I assure you it is true. Your power, man's power, lies not in your head nor your heart. It lies in the fact that you have both, that you are nature's heavenly balance, but yet you've been trained to only use only one of these tools, to reduce yourself to a machine, to ignore the animal that rests inside of you. And my friend, that is a true tragedy." He stood up, adjusting the straps of his bag. "If it is morality that concerns you, I assure you that the things on this station commit horrors that'll make your head spin, and we allow it for the same reasons that you cannot say your own name without flinching." He looked towards the door and took a deep breath. "The secret, in moments that matter, in the times when action is demanded, do not think. That is an abomination to your nature. Just take a deep breath, a moment of appreciation, and trust what is inside of your chest. You were made for incredible things, my friend. That I promise." They'd long since been carried into port by the autopilot, and the pirate walked towards the door of the ship. "You have 15 minutes before something goes boom. Whatever you end up doing, I ask that you at least leave the ship for me. I'd hate to have to take another." Then, it was just the captain, sitting alone in his run-down ship, and looking at the large bag lying on the floor before him. He followed the flow of his fabric, saw the outline of the gun and the bombs, feeling them with the work of his vision. He didn't know what to think. He was cold. A distant, almost apathetic ghost grasping his body. "Greetings." A voice came over the ship's radio. It held the typical snaking accent of a Vati. This is Embassy Port Control. We welcome you to our station. May I inquire if you need assistance in anything today? He froze. Fear gripped him. Blood, energy, electricity. All of it streaked up and down the captain's body. It was like fire, like great waves of heat that bounded out from his chest, exploded and found structure in his bones. He didn't understand, and yet he didn't try. For a moment, maybe for the first moment in his life, he let it happen. He let the excitement and adrenaline run to the ends of his fingers and trace the length of his body. He felt the once awful feeling of anxiety shift into a natural sensation of liveliness. He could almost see the fear in his chest, swirling and bubbling in his heart, alchemizing and arming him, creating something new, something... Yes, this is the captain of the force of nature. I appreciate your concern, and I'd love to take you up on that offer. See, I'm a bit of a Vati engineering fan, and I've just happened to hear that a real cruiser is docked somewhere here at this station. Man, I tell you, I would just love to see one of those things for myself. I heard they're just wonderful. Of course. The response was quick. It is located at Dock A, one floor above you, slip 7. I'm sure they let a human come by and take a look at the outside. Oh, that's mightily kind of you. His eyes looked back down at the bag, yet this time he didn't bother to analyze it. In fact, he didn't think at all. I'll be there in a bit.